Good morning guys, welcome to my Flosstube. My name is Emily and I'm here for my not so weekly update. I'm 2 days late, I'm 3 days late I think now, but it's very early in the morning so I'm only counting it as 2. It's 7:30 in the morning because this is the window I've got right now. 7:30 in the UK. We have got a light, which is good. We don't have sunshine yet, so the light's iffy, but there we go, which is just as well because having put the camera on I realise I look about 300 years old. I have just had probably 8 hours sleep. When I set my alarm it said 9 hours because we went up to bed very early last night. So I've just had a big sleep, but obviously I am running at the thin end of every wedge at the moment and that's just the way it's going to be for a little while. So we'll be okay. I will show you my cross stitch. I've not worked on as much as I'd like to, but that's the way it is at the moment. I got Richard home on the Friday. When I posted my video on the Thursday, I didn't want to be too enthusiastic in case it didn't happen, but it did. I went and did half my early shift, so 5 till 9:30, went to the hospital, we were discharged by 10:30 and we were home at 11. And he likes, obviously he loves being home in his own house. He knows where he is, everything's easier. We've had an up and down week, and that's all I can really say. The realisation that his eyes are not going to get better at all really is hitting, and it's making him very upset, obviously, because he now is realising that his sight has gone. We're talking a little bit of light, a little bit of, you know, if you shine a bright light in his eye, he can see there is a light. That's it. We went to the eye clinic on Thursday and we have been urgently referred on to a different eye unit. Newcastle and Sunderland share the load for emergency cases outside their immediate area. So we will be contacted at some point. He will need a retina reattaching. However, that will not give him vision. It is for future comfort, because apparently a detached retina is very painful long term, which is what we're going to try and avoid because we've got enough on to deal with. So yeah, so I'm so very thankful to everybody who has commented, and a few people did actually send me some money. Thank you so much. I can't say how much I appreciate it right now because I haven't enough to cover it, you know. There's too much going on. There's just too much going on, and it's basically meant I can keep putting fuel in my car and his car to run him to places. If I'm not taking Richard somewhere, I use my car, which is much more fuel efficient, but obviously I'm just between a rock and a hard place right now. I am going through the steps to monetize my channel. I do apologise for that, but everybody said, oh God, just do it. So I've just done it. And I will be setting up a Ko-fi account because that looks quite interesting to me actually. It's not just give me money, there's other things to it. And I have not yet touched Shopify because I've had a bit of a week. So I have, however, sorted out my stock. I didn't think I had very many needle minders made. You know when you don't think you have very much. So I spent some time, is what I'm saying. This is how my needle minders start out, as British stamps. And I have some New Zealand stamps and I have some Australian stamps. And they are absolutely beautiful. Got a couple of Irish ones on here and some Canadian ones, just little ones. They'll be freebies. And I put them up on these big sheets of ply, like so. I have got some of my favourite sets here. The Beatrix Potters, Ordnance Survey maps, the weather ones. I love these. Those are mint condition. Oh, these are mint condition. Some of them are first day covers. First day covers have a stamp on them, but it doesn't touch the stamp really. And then I've got these barn owls and the kestrels in flight here. And this is an amazing cats and dogs set, of which I love the cat in the sink. I've had him before as a random stamp and I loved him so much. There's a whole pile of funny cats and dogs there. So I've done, and Lord of the Rings. Tudors, Henry VIII's wives, and Henry VIII as well, because he is a cross stitch. And you can occasionally find sets of him. And I've got the Tudors here, and good old Queen Elizabeth I. She's always brilliant. And some little dinkles that will be freebies. And anything this sort of size is a freebie, because we always put freebies in, don't we? The needle minders of the month are on the back of here. Obviously I'm not going to flash them. You can see they're not quite ready. I thought I would be ready in time. I will get these chopped today and starting to resin, and I will invoice. They are gorgeous. Anyway, care of Maddie. And yeah, I sorted out my stock. I'm going to store them differently from how I used to store them. But this is the box of things I need to list on Shopify. Here are scissor fobs and things that mostly Lizzie has made. And just to show you, here is the very tactile ball of magnet backs. That's how many. For everyone who can't ever find a magnet, when they want to put a chart, on their Q-snap or their frame, I have this tactile ball of magnet backs, because I'm going to store them on thin sheets of metal now, rather than clipped. I used to keep them clipped to pieces of card, and of course they all stick to each other and you end up fussing about for ages. So I took all the backs off. Well, I got Richard to take all the backs off because he can do things with feel. But that's the ball of backs. That's how many I've got. So I really need to get some of these things listed. And I'll do slightly different going forwards. So there we go. Right. So I've been pottering as well. I've cut out quite a lot of bags. Maddie has gone down to Cambridge yesterday to one of the, it's not the May ball, it's the end of whichever term it is his ball, and she gets invited as an alumni, as a very recent alumni, and she's always been kind of favourites, because she's a bit of a favourite really. She's always been very good with grown-ups. I think it's because I didn't know how to parent a small child, so I treated her like she was an adult, so she's always been very, very good with adults. Now she's an adult herself, she's still very good with older adults, so she always fits in beautifully in a that kind of setting. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah, she's gone down, but she wanted an outfit, and I had like a day and a half, and I was working both days. Well, I wasn't working one of the days, but we had things we needed to do. So I made a large wrap skirt and the back for a corset, and then we turned the corset into like a halter top. And in the space of an evening, so midnight the day before yesterday, I got to bed, which is probably why I look like hell now, because I had worked as well. Done early, and then, yeah. Anyway, I did a 12/8 yesterday. I'm on a 12/8 today, unless we get the call to get in the car and go to Sunderland to be seen by a different specialist. As far as I'm concerned, the more specialists we see, the better. They each will have a different take on his condition. However, the outcome will not change, I don't think. I really don't think. And I think it's the realisation of that is hitting. And it is, for both of us, in slightly different ways, a very big grieving process will occur shortly, I think. He's starting to feel it now. It's just the loss. It's the loss. And anybody who's got slightly dodgy sight and is like, oh, I don't really want to go and get new glasses. I don't really want to go and get my eyes checked. Go. Please value what we have. Please value your eyes. Because if they suddenly switch off, and Richard switched off in the space of 4 hours, and we had no idea that switch off would be but a permanent switch off. But it turns out it is a permanent switch off. So, yeah. Please value your eyes. And we did, you know, but every single person takes it for granted that they can see until they can't. And then it's not such a thing that you can reconcile yourself to. Anyway, I'm up this early because he's still sleeping. We've decided he needs more sleep. We had to go to the doctor's yesterday morning very early, and he said he felt very ropey in the morning, so I've left him sleeping. I'll get this recorded and then I'll go back up and sit upstairs with him in a very, very gorgeously light room and stitch. Anyway, so I made Maddie an outfit which took out an evening, and then potted around and did this and did that, and yeah. So I haven't done my figures, my total for the 7 days that I'm counting here. Bear in mind there's 2 days plus on that, was 5,054. So it was a 5,000 stitch week. So I was off work for 4 days, and normally I would stitch like 9,000 stitches in if I'm off work, but I've had lots to do. You know, we've had a lot going on, and I can't just sit and stitch all day long. It's just not possible anymore. The total for the year is now running at 63,201. So that's where I am for the year. So I'm going to show you what I've actually done. I only touched 324 the one time, and I put in 280 stitches. So it has changed since the last time you saw it. Last time you saw it, it looked like this. 324 now looks like this, and I don't know how much. I think that's probably only a couple more. I am properly behind. I will sit and have a go at this and catch myself up. I am a week behind now, so I'm 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this whole top row to the edge, probably to the end of the pattern, is where I need to be, probably. But I need to pick that back up. I might do that this morning, because we've got nothing on this morning unless we get the call, which I don't think we will until next week. It's not an urgent. This has to be done now, or his vision will be gone. It has to be done. It's not that urgent, because it's not going to change the outcome, if you see what I mean. And it's very straightforward surgery apparently, and it takes about an hour, so it's a day case really. So we'll go over there, get all the tests, get assessed. Hopefully they'll have a slot. We won't have to come back, because it's quite a long way from here actually. And we'll go and we'll do what we need to do. My work's ready. My work's expecting me to phone at some point. If it's past Monday next week, I'm off, because I'm then off until the following Monday, because the wedding is on the Sunday. So I'll get my knitting in a minute and show you that too, because I've been knitting, because I've decided I really do need the pair of sleeves. I really do need them, so I need to get them done. Hang on. Oh, sorry, that's only my first cup of coffee, so. Right, Tiny Modernist Sal, again, I only worked on it twice. I put in 846 stitches. Last time I filmed it looked like this. And this week it looks like, oh, I need something behind it. The sun is trying. This week it looks like this. So I have done quite a bit. I know I've done the snail, and I've done the stalk of the mushroom. I did a bit more of this yellow here, and I think little bits in here, and I've put in this shelf here. So it's at 51.9% of part 1. So I really want to pick this up and do some more stitches in this. I probably will next week when I'm off. I'm expecting to have time to sit and stitch a bit next week, and I'm going to give myself the time to do that, because I think I need a bit of a break, to be honest. And then I worked twice, because I finished the wasp, so 1 of 3 complete. So I picked up the bee, and when I showed the bee it was here. I've put in 1,048 stitches into the bee, which takes it to 83.28 stitches. I am going to have to do a little bit of frogging in this, because I stitched, oh, I don't know actually, I might leave this. No, it's terrible, I have to take it out. I stitched this tired in the half dark. Anyway, I'm going to show you it as it is there. So this wing is complete. This wing has 1 colour left to go in it, and that's going to be about the bulk of the stitching. And then there'll be another one of these here, and then it's all just the little bits and bobs will finish it. So the bee's not far off. It's at 83%, but like 1% is going to be something silly like 26 stitches, so it's not far. But here, close up of dreadful stitching, I stitched that in the dark, and yeah, they are absolutely terrible stitches. I will frog those out and redo them. I did that on the wasp one as well, because I did one of those. I thought, oh, it's a shape, it's easy peasy, that my needle will guide me through the Ada. yeah, your needle sometimes doesn't guide you through the Ada, and sometimes you make an absolute pig's ear of it, and I think it's noticeable enough to change it up, because the rest of the stitching on this one's not bad. That's terrible. So the bee's looking good, actually. I'll try and get him finished for next week, and then I've got one adrift, and we'll see how we get on, because the other one is the ladybird. So I'll see how I get on. The ladybird's mostly stitched, it's just mostly the fluff around the edges. This is the fluff around the edges, all these little pretty bits that really make it fantastic. So we'll see about getting that one out of the way. And then I've put the majority of my stitches into the pointed fifth, just because I love it. I love it so much, and it's so easy to carry with me. Last time I filmed it looked like this, and I was up filling in these here. So I did indeed finish filling in these here. The only thing that's missing is the number date here. So it's 20. There was a 1 on the pattern because she did the pattern in 2018. So it's a 20, and I've done the 2 to match the 2 below, and there is a gap. I'm hoping it should be a 7 or an 8. Either one fits. It's not going to roll into the 30. So it's a 2. Definitely a 2. And I've got this for the end of the week. Oh, I didn't put my percentages in, actually, because I've stitched on it again since, well, yesterday and the day before. But there's that row bar that date, and the back stitch. Of course, there's back stitch is complete. So that was the goal I wanted to get there. And then I said the other thing I wanted to do was find the bottom of the pattern, because I knew I was quite close because I was running out of fabric. And I have. Take the bottom of the Q-snap off there. And there is the bottom of the fabric. That is the bottom of the piece. So actually, I measured not bad. I've got a little bit less at the top. I think that was me being careful. And I've got a little bit more at the bottom. I've got a good 3-inch margin there, which is quite good for me. So that is the bottom. And this is the bum of, it's either a bunny or a squirrel. This bottom here, this is a bottom in the navy blue here, in the 823 or 12. So that is the end of the colourway. These are blends that I'll use further on. I've just parked them out the way there so that I know I've got my blend to bring the 2 colours. That's quite a stark change. You can really see how I do the blend there. Between that colour and that colour is quite a stark change. Between this green and this teal is quite subtle. And then it's down into just one lighter teal there, and that's the end, that's the bottom, and then down into the last colour. So there we go, that's the bottom of the piece. So realistically, I've got to bring these archways from this quite straight turquoise line here. There's a row of archways, there's the big cartouches here, you can see they're quite big ones, and then it drops into like the bottom border, where it's very like this, except they're squares and not diamonds, but it's very solid with the little thing in the dark in the square. And that's the start of the first square, and my squares have got little lugs on the corners, which I've decided to do in the navy blue. It was a toss-up whether I squared the square and did the corners, like you can see there's 3 stitches above and 3 stitches to the side. 4 stitches above and 4 stitches to the side of each of the boxes there. So it was a toss-up whether I did that with the colour or the 823. So I thought 823. So 2,145 stitches into my pointed fifth, and I think we are, have a quick look at my figures at the back here. Pointed fifth, we're going to be about halfway through the goal, a little bit over halfway through my goal, so I've still got a good chunk of stitching to put into it. Yeah, I've still got a good chunk of stitching to put into my pointed fifth before I reach my whip go goal. So I've done quite a lot already, but still quite a bit to go. I have not yet picked up the key. I've not picked it up yet, but I'd really like to. I think I'm definitely going to stitch on that next week. I'm hoping next week we get some good light warmish days and we can sit in the conservatory, because the living room is very gloomy and in very gloomy light he sees no light perception at all. So he's in the dark all day, but he doesn't really want to move off his sofa. He's not ready to try and do anything other than go to the loo and have a shower at the moment. And I understand that he's not ready. I understand. But he's getting depressed sitting there doing nothing all day. I don't know what to do with him other than what the OT said, to get him into the kitchen, start making him get himself a glass of water even, you know, just the easiest of jobs. He's just like, but I'm comfy, could you just not get it for me? And the answer is, well, of course I can get it for you. So I do. So, yeah, we've got a lot of figuring out to do. And healing, loads of healing to do. His brain's still really fuddly. He still can't really process. The second ex-wife came around last night after I asked whoever's with him and him to, you know, really not let her in the house. She came in and she was having a go at him about not seeing the kids when he was critically ill in hospital. This is what we're dealing with. Critically ill in hospital. I nearly lost him. We came quite close, I think, to actually losing him. And apparently that means he doesn't want to see his children. Of course he wants to see his children. He asks me every day. I've been messaging them themselves. She didn't message me again after she saw my ring, because she didn't know about that. So, yeah. And of course I got in from work last night, realised she'd been in the house for 20 minutes, and I got really mad. And he was tired, and he was just like, oh, I just can't deal with this. And I was like, I asked you one thing. But it's not for his daughter to stand and bar the door, is it? Anyway, but as she was apparently having a go at him, he was falling to sleep, and she can't pick up on the cue that maybe that's not the time, because it's not on the agenda. Like, the agenda is to say her piece, you know? So we've got that to deal with too, and I'm sorry for putting something completely random into this, but it's my only little sticky bit, because having the kids here is really good for him. He really enjoys seeing, obviously, having them around. Absolutely. I've got no problem with that. You know, I've had a whole year of weekends where sometimes it's good and sometimes it's tricky, but it's been fine. We managed it every weekend. And then all of a sudden haven't seen them at all very much. And then she did cause a bit of trouble in the hospital, which I probably didn't tell you about, but, you know, yeah. Anyway, and then waltzes into what she still considers to be her house, which is, I find very difficult. I find it very difficult. But, and I did before all of this, but I don't want her, you know, having a go at him and upsetting him when he's completely defenceless at the moment. And she did exactly that when I was at work. So there's that. I've forgotten my tangent completely, and I'm not going to stop it and find out where I was. I'm just simply going to show you the treasure hunt bookshelf. I'm going to be really honest and say, last night I had every intention of putting, because this was upstairs, I had every intention of putting my stitches into the treasure hunt bookshelf last night, and I went to sleep. I woke up just before 4 o'clock in the morning when Pattern Keeper resets in the UK at 4 in the morning. I did 4 stitches just before 4 o'clock this morning, and then my Pattern Keeper zeroed. So I counted 4 for yesterday. Technically it was very early this morning, but it was before Pattern Keeper reset. I'm reset for the day, and I did 4 whole stitches. And I'm technically calling that I stitched on it, because Pattern Keeper recorded stitches for the last 24 hours. Anyway, in that week I stitched 735 stitches, so we're averaging about 100 a day, which is fine. Last time I filmed it looked like this. I have moved the Q-snap down a bit, just to find blocks of colour, really. Currently we're in 814, and it now looks like this. So let's get that over there. And there we go. So I've just kept on filling in sort of this way I've kind of given up on the confetti over here, even though it's really easy to stitch in. I'm kind of concentrating on this, and I need to find out what's in here because I figure this is going to be a lot of one or another colour, probably 3 or 4 colours, mostly making a book. So I'm kind of concentrating around here. There's a lot of 814 going in here, the red, which in the big scheme of things kind of doesn't look red, but when you come up close you can see there's a lot of little red stitches in there. It's very, very dark red. So I'm kind of working over here at the moment, pootling along, averaging about 100 a day. So a couple of the days I did nearly 200, and then yesterday, this morning, I did 4. It's already got 26 stitches in it for today, so if I don't pick it up again today, at least I have stitched on it. But I will do, because I'm going upstairs. I need something paper. I need a paper pattern to... Oh, I don't have any paper patterns on the go. I'll think about that. I need a paper pattern because when my phone does its thing, converts the video, it needs to have the app open. So I can't use I can, but it takes forever to do the video, and it's hit and miss whether it works. So it's much better if it just does its thing, and I use paper pattern for that. But I might not even be stitching then. I might convert my video and get my needle minders of the month cut out, because I won't invoice for them until they're nearly ready. But yeah, right guys. This is not a terribly long video. I want to get back upstairs. It's also reasonably chilly. It's 11.5 degrees in the conservatory. I took the radiator out and put it back in the hall where it lives through the rest of the year. I'm going to go and see if my old boy is stirring yet. And if he isn't, I'm just going to sit on the bed and stitch for a bit and insert the few pictures I need to insert over the I really must clean this window, because it's got a birdie poopy on it and probably has for months. Yes, it looks very ugly birdie poopy. That's going to be one of my jobs this week. And there's a lot to get sorted. We've got a lot of things to get on with and get done. So even though I'm going to be off the back end of this week's stitching, it probably won't be a massive week. Already this week, my stitching for the 2 days that we're already into this week, I've done 134 and 325. So you can see my stitching is very, very low at the moment, but I'm still stitching. I'm still getting on with it. Got so much to do, and I feel stressed with how much I've got to get done. But then when I sit down to stitch, I don't feel I have any time to do it. It's very strange. Anyway, I'm going to head off now. Go back upstairs and see how we're getting on, and do a bit of stitching. Right guys, thank you all for sticking with me and listening to my increasingly rambly rambles, and hopefully we'll have a better week this week, and I will let you know probably on about the right day this next week coming, because I am going to be off work. I've got one shift on the Monday. I think it's a daytime shift. I think it's either a 10-6 or a 12-8 I've got on the Monday. It's a funny shift. And then I'm off until the following Monday, where I've got a late. I picked up 3 shifts, which covers the holiday that I took last week as emergency, because Richard came home and I needed to be there for him. So I had 2 days off. My 2 days off luckily fell then, and I took 2 days emergency holiday. And again, my work had been brilliant. And the area manager was in yesterday, and she was very pleasant, actually, all things considered, and she's never actually spoken to me before. So it was she'd obviously been brought up to speed on what was going on. So she was just like, you've got to do what you got to do. So that's okay. So it's obviously okay. Right, I will vamoose. I will see you next week, hopefully earlier than Friday morning. Anyway, bye bye guys.